Five of Swords is the underlying energy here. Obviously, a big headache. You have a big headache about something. You're going through something that's giving you a major life headache at this time. Five of Swords is about cutting off people. Even though this person has his hand on his head, right? Like he has a headache, obviously. He's still walking away, you know, even so it's choosing the lesser of two evils. Do you stay around people that are toxic, no matter what relation they are to you, or would be the lesser evil to leave? I think you chose to leave. Seven of Cups is all about illusions, lies. It's kind of like being in a dream state, but not knowing the facts correctly, being disillusioned by many people in your family, something heart-related with this group of seven here. Could be seven people that have all been manipulative or untrustworthy to you in some sort of way. We also have the Six of Cups coming out, which gives me family again. Like, I think you thought that this was your family, that they would actually look after you, right? And take care of one another in a loving way, right? Sharing the love. It's this lovely pink energy. You know, it's the father that takes care of the son, that takes care of the baby puppy, you know, and the puppy and the son grow up to be an adult eventually. So that's the role of parenthood. You know, maybe, is there any more important job, right? To direct children the right way, to care for them, to help them flourish, instead of the opposite happening. So I think that even though it's something that you don't want to accept because of the cognitive dissonance that happens, especially around toxic family members, you know, your head wants to believe that your family loves you, but sometimes some people don't have that luck, and they're around people that they play with their head. You see how this person looks confused? They're like, well, this person lies to me. Oh wait, okay, this one thinks he knows everything. Oh, okay, this one's a narcissist, a piece of shit. Okay, you know, and they all. He's going through like the whole list right here of all these people around him that he once loved or thought that they loved him. He knows it's a headache either way, to stay or to go. We might as well pick to go. Give yourself a chance at life, a chance at happiness. Refresh yourself of the energy that's lurking around you. And that could really fuck up your future, basically. You know, if you stay in, unfortunately, a family that is not good for you, that has never given you a sense of safety or trust the whole time you've known them, you know, choosing to walk away is a big step, because you're choosing to help yourself grow out of a situation and not be this regenerative POS, you know, that just regenerates the cyclical generational trauma and mental illnesses that might happen, or personality disorders, all these negative traits that you can pass on without addressing it. When you don't address a problem, you procreate the problem over and over again. So if you don't take care of your children, it's a perpetuating situation. Three of Pentacles is all about teamwork, which, you know, obviously when you know that you're not in the right team, you gotta leave the room. And it's really hard for children to leave their family. Obviously, no child dreams of the day that they have to, you know, turn their back on blood relatives. But there also comes a day when you have enough logic to see what's actually happening in front of you, to see the actions that are around you, instead of what people pretend to be or pretend to say to you. You grow up one day and you learn autonomous way of thinking. And that's how you help yourself get out of whatever situation that you felt stagnated in? The Nine of Swords. Yeah. Look at this. How many times do you have to stay up at night ruminating on toxic personalities around you? I think we've all been there at least once. If you're lucky, you've only been once. But like when you're going through some sort of strife or a part in life where it's just really frustrating, unfair, abusive, toxic, whatever it's happening, right? And you feel all these emotions that literally distract you from your normal way of life. You might be driving home, but you're not really even there. You're thinking about this stupid person, that how wrong they are, how wrong they did you, right? How devilish they are, whatever it is that you're fixated on. You forget you're driving even. So it keeps you in a place of confusion and also takes your eye off the ball of life. You know, you have to remain focused on where you're going, and all these distractions are just distractions. And if you pay attention to them, then you stay up at night. Anxiety, worry. See all these, you know, black crows like just circling around her, like she's fighting to gain some sort of peace in whatever mental activity that's happening here. It's a lot of mental activity that's, you know, not being taken care of, you know, like, so how do you give yourself, you have to give yourself room, space to process mental activity if you're feeling overburdened, overwhelmed, right, from it. You have to take yourself out of the ring. Maybe you just stay to yourself for a while and develop some solitude and peace, so you can then go back out into the world and deal with all these behaviors, let's call them, these personalities. Five of Pentacles, being put out in the cold. I can't make it up. I don't, you know, these cards always amaze me. Five of Pentacles, Five of Swords, the two worst cards of, you know, like, this is the thing. If you want to be a fighter in whatever scenario that you're going in, it's shitty. Admit that it's shitty. But at the same time, it's inviting change. And you have the chance to change with this huge, you know, curveball that life gave you. All this worry, you can turn it into a hero's journey, a hero's story, whatever they say, right? Where there's a huge turnaround. You know, there's a lot of people that hit the bottom depths and even below the bottom, right, of life. And then they bounce back even higher than most people because they have the drive, right? And they have nothing to lose, which is actually, a power in losing everything, is that you have nothing to lose. So you're able to take the most risks. And that's where people really grow or just charge ahead, right? Whatever is really fucking you up, I think you had to leave. Or even though it's been a headache and you feel abandoned, right? You're put out into the cold, the door is locked. Good luck in life, lady, right? Head down constantly, frustrated, right? Confused. All these energies are not good for your soul. So even though it's bad that it's happened, but you finally, the end is actually the beginning, and it's actually an opportunity to make a different story for yourself instead of being caught up in this generational bullshit. We have the King of Cups. So this is definitely a male read, but if you're a female, take it, take the message too if it's resonating. We do have females here too. It just feels very male with a lot of all of these other cards for some reason, but it could be just a water sign that's really in tune with their heart. And to protect your heart, it's not just being soft. Like, people in the cups realm of life, they're water-based, which they're heart-based and loving-based and emotions, right? Our emotions, the moon and water are all connected to one another. But in order to be soft, you have to be hard on the outside. You have to, in order to be a true artist, you have to be vulnerable to other people's opinions and critiques. And in order to do that, you kind of have to have a really ballsy attitude and really stand by your own work, your own idea, because sometimes you put yourself out there in a land that no one has even touched yet. And a lot of people don't enjoy change or actually you enlightening them into a certain aspect of life because they get their whole world turned upside down. And some people would rather live in their ignorance because it's easy, quote unquote, to be ignorant. So in order to protect your heart going forward, you have to remain, paying your intuition on track, but picking yourself out of here, right? The Six of Wands, picking yourself. This usually means getting picked from someone else out of a crowd, but I feel like you're picking yourself out. You can't wait for help. That's another thing. You can't wait for someone else to help you. A lot of people rely on that, and they become enablers of, toxic behavior too. But in order to get the help you need, you have to start helping yourself first, and then eventually you'll find support along the way. But you can't just sit there and wait for someone else to help you out of this scenario. You have to be the one to do it. The world, ups and downs of life. It's kind of like going the distance. Right? We're ending in really bright energy. And then the Chariot, which is swiftly going forward. Oh, that's beautiful. So this is the thing when your life swings back and forth between terrible, I don't want this to be happening in my life anymore, versus amazing, magical, dare I say happy. You have to remain steadfast on your own heart, right? And knowing that you have to fight for your protection of your heart, because it does not matter whatever relationships this was around you, family, friends, business-based, it was definitely wrong. And you're looking almost at yourself as a child again and forgiving yourself for not knowing how to handle things, because how could you? But when you're an adult now, you could remain more wise, especially with your emotions and your intuition on knowing what is right and what is wrong. And you can validate it as well. It's maturity. And knowing that you don't need someone else to validate your own feelings and thoughts. Sometimes it's good to get validation, but it's all biased depending on who you ask. How many people do you ask? All these things. So the real opinion that really matters is what you feel about what you're doing and what's happening around you and the feelings that you get around certain people, no matter what relation they are. You have to listen to it. And you'll swiftly go forward, right? Going forward into your future with the world. The Six of Wands. Take a glorious breath. Inhale the wonder of life. Exhale and relax into the fullness of your true self. Take a deep breath when you feel uptight, especially I get, my body reacts differently to, different people around me. And sometimes it's as a protectionary measure. Other times it could be just giving me signs about people. But when I'm around people that aren't good for me, whether my conscious brain has caught up with my senses yet or not, my senses usually tell me off the bat that this person is not good. And how I know is that I get a really tight chest. I get a really tight chest, like someone's stepping on my chest. So I get windblown. I can't breathe in fully, right? I'm winded around certain people, or my stomach feels like there's like a rope tied around it, right? And it's tight. Everything feels tight and stagnant, and it's festering. And that's how I know that someone is toxic, because when I was younger, I didn't know how to listen to my body yet and believe it. So of course you go through mistakes, and you kind of linger around certain people longer than you should because you don't know better. You think you could love, someone different, whatever thing you have illusions about, right? With this confusion, sometimes good people get confused about just walking away from certain toxic energies because they are getting their hearts played with, right? Their minds and hearts are getting played with. So that's what keeps you up at night with anxiety, because inside, in your intuition, in your gut, in your heart, you know that something isn't right, but there's no physical evidence, no logical explanation that you could give. But for some reason, it's nagging at your stomach. Some people might sweat. Some people will I'll get chills. Like, there's a lot of things that happen around certain people. And it's just signs that your body's giving you before, and it's happening before your brain even catches up with what's happening. And you should listen to it. And it's not just a one-off, because sometimes we can all have a bad day. But if this is a constant, repetitious action that someone around you does, or gives you a certain feeling every single time you're around this person, you have to learn to let go. And it's not because you are a bad person. It's because you are protecting your own self, your own heart, and your own health.